Happy Wednesday. Let's do this. Welcome back to Extraordinary Times. I am Jeremy. My other co-host is AJ. You'll get the gist of it eventually. If you really want to know what's going on, go check out the Monday show. There's a link to it. There's a playlist. I don't know, stuff and things. Let's jump into the news. First thing I want to talk about today is Hurricane Isaac. It came in a Gulf Coastly direction and hit landfall in Louisiana, where you'd think after about 7 years of, Katrina recovery, they would have done something to fix, levees and things, but apparently it made landfall right in the right place and toppled about 18 miles of levee, and so there's a bunch of flooding. The same kind of story, except they kind of knew what to do this time. So a lot less loss of life, a lot less loss of stuff and things and people, and thankfully, we knew what to do this time. People are still stranded on rooftops. People are still without power, so you know what to do. Donate to those charities and people and things that do stuff for recovery efforts, and, be a good person to help out if you can. From the direly important to the not so important, the Republican National Convention is this week, and Google is really, Googling it up big in their little corner of the convention where they're covering, like, all the things at the convention and Hurricane Isaac, and just basically showing how cool a company Google is. By the way, thanks, Google. And then there's David Chilan, formerly of Yahoo News, who was commenting on stuff last night and made a really spectacularly stupid racist comment, and you can go check it out on Breitbart TV below. But the thing is, people are ignorant and think that we think a lot of things, and we don't really think a lot of those things. Actually, basically all of the ignorant things that you think Republicans think, no, not so much. Like MSNBC, where they were covering the convention, but almost every single time that somebody who was not an old stuffy white person was on stage, they cut to Rachel Maddow and her panel of people that talk about stuff. And they're all fine and good, but they were cutting away from some very important speeches, like Mia Love, who is running for Congress in Utah as a Republican, and she is running against a Democrat who's been there so far 6 terms, and she could be the first black Republican woman in Congress if she wins. She's 36 years old. She looks like a good person. She sounds like a good person, and I'll be honest, full disclosure, she's Mormon. That kind of appeals to my Mormon-y heartstrings a little bit, but the point is, she could do really great things, and people like MSNBC are like, oh, we're just going to ignore that you even exist. But speaking of women doing really awesome things, apparently the Marines, the United States Marine Corps, are finally letting women into combat situational jobs, where normally you would think a Marine, a man, big, broad-shouldered, but they're putting women into these combat roles, and they're not expecting any less of these women. And these women are stepping up and being awesome because that's what Marines do. So, yay. Go Marines, go women in the military, and we move on. To something that really actually confuses me. A man in India decided he was going to open up a clothing store with one of his business partners, and his business partner had a grandfather who they used to call Hitler because he was very, very strict, and that's all they knew about the name Hitler, so they're like, hey, we'll call it Hitler Clothing Store. It's Western culture. And now as soon as they opened, they found out that Hitler killed 6 million Jews, and they are demanding if people want them to change their brand name, that they need compensation of 150,000 rupees, which, by the way, is only about $2,700. That's a little bit more expensive than my car. But the man there did not actually know history at all, world history. Hitler, one of the biggest names, I think, in the world of, hate and bad things, and they didn't know about it in India. And they're educated in India, generally. Some of them, they have a caste system. It's weird. Speaking of the weird, an 8-year-old British boy was walking along the beach like little 8-year-old British boys do, and he found this chunk of something. It was about a pound weight-wise, and he brought it home and was like, this is cool. Turns out it's actually well, it's going to sound gross, sperm whale vomit. They call it ambergris. It's actually like useful for stuff. It keeps perfumes lasting longer smelling. Because of that particular purpose, it's worth around $68,000, like American dollars. It's a pound chunk of sperm whale vomit. That's crazy. And so, you know, good luck to this kid. He wants to open an animal like house shelter thing with the money that he is probably going to get from this ambergris. So, whoosh, good job. Now, if you're bored, go down and check out the link that we have to a Terry Crews interactive Old Spice ad hosted by Vimeo, who apparently at the end of the video you can use the keyboard and do little stuff with the Terry Crews and his muscles and music. And by the way, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And today in Spain apparently was a tomato hurling festival called Tomatina, where people from all over the world gather to this little town of 40,000 people, and they all just chuck tomatoes at each other. Now, I'm all about having a lot of fun with food and stuff, but apparently they waste a lot of tomatoes, 120 tons of tomatoes. Well, why aren't they sending those off to other countries and helping feed people? And they're wasting stuff. And no, it's a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun, and I wish I could do that, I'll be honest. But this is America, where we can't waste food like that. We have to waste food like this. Those of us who are huge Joss Whedon fans and huge Avengers fans, those worlds are coming together yet again thanks to ABC. They're going to be hosting a new Joss Whedon-directed S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. I'm looking forward to this, like, a lot. You don't even know how much I like the idea of S.H.I.E.L.D. Good heavens. Here we go. But really, that's all I have to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining us on The Extraordinary Times. Watch tomorrow or yesterday to watch AJ, or you can come see us both talk about stuff on Friday. You know, there's a like button over here if you want to like it. Favorite button over here if you're watching on YouTube. Please watch on YouTube. There's a subscribe button up there. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please watch on YouTube. And share us with your friends. We appreciate it. We love you. And we will see you later. Be aware. Yeah. I want to start that all over again.